Graeme Murty knew all about Jimmy Nicholl, the player, and had seen his work as a manager and a coach. Once he got to know him as a person, he was convinced he was the right man for him and for Rangers. Nicholl signed on at Ibrox for the third time last week as he returned to his former club to become Murty's assistant manager. He has fond memories of the past, but now he can help shape the future. The Northern Irishman became a firm favourite with the Light Blue Legions during his playing days, and the mutual respect and affinity hasn't been lost through the passing of time. His appointment to Murty's backroom team alongside coaches Jonathan Johansson and Colin Stewart came out of the blue. For Murty, it was the obvious move to make, though. "We have been looking to add some more experience to the management group," he said. "It's another set of eyes and ears. We wanted someone who would perhaps see things differently from myself, JJ and Colin Stewart." Right across the board, Jimmy Nicholl ticked so many boxes. He will bring a wealth of experience with him, but, more importantly, it was about the man himself. Given the way he conducts himself, when you look at the man he is, it was really a no-brainer from our point of view. He was someone that we wanted to bring in, and it will be really interesting to see the dynamics between him and the playing group. I've no doubt they'll be looking at him to see what he brings, and similarly, he'll be looking at them to see what they're all about. As Murty takes his first step as a manager, he can now call upon the words of wisdom of a respected coach that is entering the twilight of his career. Nicholl has spent recent years alongside Northern Ireland boss Michael O'Neill and stepped down from his position at Falkirk to make the move to Ibrox last week. The 61-year-old has significant experience on both sides of the white line, and Murty is confident he can bring out the best in him this term. He said, "Our paths had crossed briefly, but not to any great degree. So I talked to people he knew, and I talked to people who'd worked with him before. Of all the people I spoke to, not one person had a bad word to say about him, which is a measure of the man. In terms of the person he's and in terms of where he is on his own journey, nobody spoke badly of him. So I think it was vitally important we got someone of his ilk in. He'll change the mix of the management group, bring in more experience, and at the end of the day he's exactly what I was looking for." With Nicholl now on board, there is clarity in the Ibrox dugout for the first time since Pedro Teixeira was sacked in October. He joined up with Murty and his squad last week before travelling stateside on Saturday as Rangers prepare for their Florida Cup clashes with Brazilian sides Atlético Mineiro and Corinthians. For Nicholl and the players that he will now be working with, it is the ideal chance to make a positive first impression. Murty said, "We've had coffee a few times, and before heading to America we sat down and had lunch together. We spent a bit of time together, and we just had a good, open discussion about what I see developing and where I think he can help and what his role will be. I was really clear that I didn't want to prejudice his view of the players. I didn't want to give too much away. I want Jimmy to come in with a fresh pair of eyes and give us a no-holds-barred assessment of where we're right now. That's the only way we can improve what we do." Rangers will be based at the IMG Academy in the coming days before they travel to Orlando for their matches on Thursday and Saturday. Murty ensured his side went into the top flight shutdown on a positive note as he led the Light Blues to an Old Firm draw last month. Now the Ibrox boss hopes he and Nicholl can use their time stateside wisely as Rangers strive for further improvement in the second half of the campaign. Murty said, "Heading to America is ideal. We will get to know each other better and probably a bit quicker than we would had we still been in Glasgow. It will give Jimmy time to assess the players and tell me, honestly, what he thinks. You only get one chance to make a first impression. I've worked with the players, JJ too, but this will their first time with Jimmy, and while I know he's desperate to get going and make hay, Good impression. I hope the players are keen to make a good impression too. He's good, so much enthusiasm for this football club and better than most. Jimmy understands what it takes to be a Rangers player. He knows what the standards needed are, and he's someone who will hopefully drive standards up. We sat there and talked football for hours, and when we were finished he went off for a laugh and joke with Jimmy Bell, the kitman. He's an infectious character. He will bring a lot to the group and the football club.